So Gabriel, hearing you describe the rabbinic reinvention of Judaism, Yochanan ben Zakkai's daring escape in a coffin from Jerusalem under siege, only to find Vespasian made emperor of Rome, and granting him his wish to set up a rabbinic center in Yavne. Later, he and other rabbis reinterpreting the sacrificial system as acts of kindness and study. I can't help but wonder how we are living out their example today, or failing to. Today, you and I walked up to the Ark as if we were reenacting Moses' receipt of the Torah at Mount Sinai. I put that Torah in your arms, as if to ask you to carry it for us into the next generation. In their generation, the rabbis understood that if they didn't reinvent Judaism, it would die. The temple was destroyed in the year 70. The Jews were taken captive by the Romans as slaves and sent throughout the empire. Jerusalem, the center of Jewish life, lay in ruins. All that was left was a remnant of rabbis who lived under the harsh decrees of Roman law. Without a temple, there could be no sacrifices. And it would seem that without sacrifices, the people had no way to draw near to God. However, several centuries before this, the rabbis had already begun teaching a different way of Jewish life, an alternative to the priest-run sacrificial system at the temple. They founded synagogues long before the destruction of the temple. They began to teach that Judaism could be practiced in the home and in the synagogue, that words of prayer could serve as, quote, bowls of our lips, an alternative to animal sacrifice. That mitzvot, often reinterpreted from Torah and adapted to their time, could become the Jewish way of life. And learning, for the rabbis, could be as important, even more important, than any other Jewish act. They were radicals. And the Judaism they invented is the only Judaism we have ever known. We do not live by the laws of Torah. We do not stone rebellious children or take an eye for an eye. We do not make adulterous women drink potions to curse them. We do not rely on the high priest to atone for us by placing our sins on the head of a goat that will be sent to the wilderness. We fast instead and do teshuvah on Yom Kippur, acknowledging our wrongdoing, apologizing, and seeking forgiveness through words with other people and with God. This is all the invention of the rabbis. Shabbat candle lighting, rabbinic invention. Home-baked challah, rabbinic invention. The ceremony to conclude Shabbat, Havdalah, rabbinic invention. Hanukkah, the Passover Haggadah, giving tzedakah, not mixing milk and meat. The mezuzah on your door, the talis and the kippah that you're wearing today. The idea that we need to be in a minyan to pray. All rabbinic inventions. They understood when they wrote the Mishnah and then the Talmud that Jews around the world would cease to be Jews unless they radically redefined how to be a Jew, what Jewish life looks like, and made it into a specific set of clear rules. And it worked. Judaism survived in North Africa and Spain, in the Middle East, and in Europe. But here's the problem. Gabriel, you said, quote, Judaism has evolved from taking sacrificing very literally to a metaphorical approach of doing more good in the community, giving back, and celebrating Judaism in other unique ways. That is true. That is how non-Orthodox Judaism has evolved. But that is not what the rabbis had in mind. They did turn sacrifice into a metaphor, but they substituted other very specific acts with very detailed rules. The rules they chose about, for example, how to observe Passover, occupy hundreds of pages in the Mishnah and the Talmud and later codes. They understood that if they were not precise, if they did not turn it into a law, into specific practices that Jews were expected to follow, it would get vague over time, and it would eventually fall apart. and it would fade away to the point that 2,000 years later, we would describe it as doing good. You don't have to be Jewish to do good, or to be kind, or to pursue justice, or to give back, but those are all very Jewish things to do. If Judaism becomes just vague niceties, values that everyone shares, well then what does it look like? What does it actually mean to be Jewish? If we're going to live in the tradition of the rabbis, we have to have the courage and chutzpah to reinvent Judaism in our time so that it speaks to us and we can authentically live it out. Now, we could think of this as a rabbinic project. In other words, it's a project that people who are called rabbi would take on, because it was the rabbis, after all, 2,000 years ago, who did this. But the truth is that rabbis today would choose things that most people don't want to do. If it was up to rabbis and people like me, we would pray every single day in the community. This room would be full every single day of people praying. And yay, some people want that. David, I am so with you. We will do that together. Actually, we do that together, don't we, on Facebook Live every single morning. We would sit around studying Torah all day long. And I'm guessing, Gabriel, that you and your friends wouldn't choose that as how to spend every single day of your life. The next reinvention of Jewish life is not going to come from the rabbis. It's going to come from the Jews. And actually, that connects to our Torah portion that actually is scheduled for today, Korach. Because Korach's big claim, rabbis thought that it was really populist rhetoric and wanted something else, but what it said was, all the people are holy and God is in their midst. Who are you to set yourself above the congregation? It's a very egalitarian message. I do believe that the next invention of Judaism is going to come from the people. So the question is, what would you choose? That's the invitation, believe it or not, that you are getting today, Gabriel, as you become bar mitzvah, and that is actually available to all of us. You get to decide, you get to invent what it's going to look like for you to be a Jew. What is Shabbat going to look like? What are high holidays going to look like? What is Sukkot, Passover, Hanukkah, Purim? What is your eating going to look like? What is your giving going to look like? What are your business ethics going to look like? What are you going to do when you have a baby? What are you going to do when someone you love dies? How will you raise your children? How will they know that they are Jewish? What will they observe in your life that shows them what it means to be a Jew? Are you going to be part of the Jewish community? What will membership in that community mean? Will you have obligations to the other people? What will they be? Now, I don't mean to put all of this on you, Gabriel, because it's for all of us. It's for all Jewish people living today. We are in a moment in which Judaism could fade away or become something totally different that we imagine together. Here's what I think we need to do. Here's what I want us to do. I want everybody to pick one thing that's really interesting to you about Judaism, something you're curious about, something that you want to know more about, one holiday, one question, one mitzvah, one custom. Maybe the Jewish food blessings, maybe the sukkah. What is that thing? Maybe Shiva. Maybe why do Jews feed their pets before they eat dinner? You know that? It's a thing. Why don't Jews ask about the price of something they're not planning to buy when they're shopping? Did you know that? That's a thing. What's in a mezuzah? Do you know that? If you pick one Jewish thing and just get curious, learn everything you can learn about that one Jewish thing. It's pretty much all Googleable by now. Make it your one Jewish thing. Talk to people about it. Learn about its history. Learn about how different cultures of Jews do it around the world. Think about how you would turn it into a metaphor, what it reminds you of, what it teaches you, how you'd experiment with it, and then make it yours. You have the opportunity, we all do as 21st century Jews, to be part of reinventing Judaism, just like the people at the time of the fall of the temple. This is actually how halakha evolves. It even was how it evolved then. The rabbis pretended that it was all up to them, but they actually had to listen to the people, and they adjusted a lot of what they were doing in response to what people were actually willing and not willing to do. So this is how halacha evolves. People decide that they care about doing Jewish things. They want those things to align with their way of life and what is possible for them and what is meaningful for them. They take old practices and they adapt them and they make them new. Other people see their example, and some of them catch on. Communities start to change their practices. Other communities see their example, and off we go. The word halacha, Jewish law, it actually means walking or going, motion, path making. We're all making it as we go. We're making it when we don't do Jewish things, and we're making it when we do. Today, Gabriel, you've taken the Torah into your arms. Today, you've symbolically pledged to give it to the generation after yours. What will the Torah mean when you pass it on? What will we all have made it by then? That's our question. That's our invitation. That's our responsibility. Shabbat shalom.